I have big news. I have a book here. This book is one of the best, most incredible books in the world because it tells you how to run your mind. It tells you how to get back in control of your mind. It's such a powerful book that it's right in front of people and they can't see it. Now, I've said to you before, I'm not in the habit of changing your belief systems. I don't mind if you believe in God or don't believe in God, or you believe that there's a universal occupying or orchestrating system that is non-human or non-angelic either. I don't mind. I call it God because we all know what that means. Although more lately, people are more comfortable with the word source. So if I said to you, not only does your life have meaning, and you have control of your life more than you think you do, but you also have the power to control it quite easily. And I'm going to give you the rules how to run your mind. And it's been in front of us all along. And it is in this fantastic book. And it's not a religious book, it's a psychological book. And we call it the Bible. So I'm just going to reiterate what I've just said. This is not a religious book. This is a psychological book on how to run your consciousness and your different states of consciousness. And I'm going to give you three. So, those of you that haven't read the Bible or don't care to, it doesn't matter. I'm going to give you what's called the parables, three parables from the Bible that are going to teach you how to run your mind, that are going to be entirely relevant for what's happening in our world today. So forgive me for looking down at my notes. These notes came down at 3 a.m. So you know that they've just come straight from source. When it comes down at 3 a.m., right, that's just, that like you practically get woken up. So I want to just reiterate certain aspects of the Bible. So let's let's not. I'm not preaching religion at all. I'm really not. I'm doing the opposite actually. I don't believe Jesus was religious. You know that. I hope I don't offend any of you by what I'm about to say. But let's go with the symbolism in the Bible. So let's go with the parables in the Bible. And I do believe this is what Jesus came to earth to teach us. I don't think he came to create a religion as such. He did not. He came to create the way, and the way was back to source, to higher consciousness. So, for example, I'm going to decode the Bible for you so it makes sense. The Bible is full of stories, and yes, men wrote the Bible. So, not just one man, lots of men wrote the Bible. I am cross that the women were taken out of the Bible. So the entire testimony of Mary Magdalene was taken out of the Bible. That was a power and control move. It is also known that Helen funded Jesus's movement back in the day, and in the revised versions of the Bible, that's also been taken out. Again, that's about money, power, control, isn't it? So it's interesting how, and you know that I have equal weighting for men and women. I am not exclusive of gender. I think it's an integration. But what's interesting is that back in the day, so many people thought that women shouldn't have a voice. Now, archetypally, they've cut out half of the voice. Why would they? Is it that they thought women were too powerful, that we shouldn't speak? So the other thing that was in the Bible and is not now in there is that Jesus actually got angry. He got angry quite a lot. They've removed the word anger from the Bible because they want us to not get angry. Society wants us to be, unfortunately now, more holy than thou. So we're not, if if you kick off and you are seen as being angry about an injustice, people would criticize you for not managing your emotions. But that's based on the biasing that the Bible has been used or misused as a control manual. And it's not, it's a metaphysical manual where we literally get the words to change our reality. That's not airy fairy. That is, I'm going to tell you, you literally have the words and the ability to change your reality. So the Bible is full of little stories, and you might have read some of them, and sometimes you think, oh yeah, I sort of connect with that. We call that alignment. And sometimes you might think, I don't know what on earth they're on about. So we have to sort the wheat from the chaff when we're reading the Bible. But I'm putting it to you as somebody who studies symbols, that the Bible then is a psychological book of patterns and of experiences that apply to every single human on this earth, or in this matrix, or in this third dimensional reality, the mirror dimension. So, for example, Egypt, when you read the word Egypt, it stands for conditioned identity. So your identity has been conditioned. You are a slave to the Egyptians. So when you read the word Egypt in the Bible, that means conditioning. So now God didn't condition us, humans conditioned us. All right, so we are in the position of being slaves in Egypt. The next major character is Pharaoh. Pharaoh symbolizes the seat of consciousness that keeps you enslaved. Pharaoh is the king of consciousness that keeps you enslaved. I'm going to give you the exact terminology. Pharaoh is the oppressor of consciousness. Some people would say it's the ego. It's the ego sitting in the seat of consciousness, dictating and controlling everything. Now, the ego is a very interesting structure. It's like a magician. It's magical. But I've also said it's not a mistake that we have an ego. I can flesh that out more if you want. But let's stick on to what I'm teaching tonight about the Bible being a psychological, metaphysical book. Plagues are symbolically representative of collective, I want to call them errors. The Bible will call them sins. Sin means to fall short of the mark. But they are programs. So we have been born, they're ancestral programs. So the plagues in the mind are symbolically representative of the ancestral programs that have been planted in our mind. So we have to get through, what does it say in the Bible, when all the plagues have come out of the mind. This is why my book is called Pandora's Panacea. On the news at the moment, a lot of people are saying, oh, the US have opened Pandora's box. And I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, that is the way to heal. But people would think that's crazy, wouldn't they? I didn't call my book Pandora's Panacea just because I plucked that name out of the ether. I deliberately called that name. It's because I knew when Pandora opened the box, all the plagues in the mind of man comes out. But she didn't open it the first time, actually. The male aspect of consciousness did, symbolic of Adam. Pandora goes back to the box and she opens it actually for the second time, because after all the poisons come out, after all the plagues in the mind of man have come out that are written of in the Bible, she saw something in the back of the box that nobody else saw. And she saw the brightest light, and its name was hope. When I wrote from nuclear fission to a nuclear vision 20 years ago, that is exactly what I mean. We are in the middle. Somebody's just opened the books, and all the poisons that have been running through people's minds are spilling into our world. We can see it. Just put the news on. We have to go through it because eventually that light comes back. It's also symbolic of the returning of Jesus Christ. I've always said Jesus doesn't return because he didn't go anywhere. He just became obscured because we were programmed away from the alignment with source. For your notebooks, Exodus is the process of individuation. Right? We're going to break all this down in a moment. So Exodus is the process of individuation. So you have to leave. That's what Exodus means. You have to leave your dual thinking, because currently we're very black and white. We're angel and demon. We're right and wrong. And we have to bring it back to oneness. So Exodus is the name that the Bible gives, the same process that Carl Jung says is individuation. It's the same process, just given two different names. And then finally, the promised land. Your promised land is alive, and you get to your promised land when all your internal conditions are perfect. Now, ask any human, and we'll say, oh, it's not possible. You can't have perfect in your mind. You can't have perfect in your life. But I am saying that the reason people don't have perfection and peace in their mind is precisely because they don't think they can get there. So you have to remove your program that thinks you can't get to your promised land in your mind. The last thing I'm going to say before we have a discussion, because I've given you some quite new and heavy information. I've talked to you before about manifestation and the power of your words. Your subconscious mind is where you image your reality. Your conscious mind puts it into words. And if we're connected, aligned with the superconscious, it will manifest into your world. That's the process of manifestation. That is what the Bible teaches. It does not teach that you have to be led by any human. It does not teach that you have to belong to any group. It teaches you to return to the middle of your mind, unseat Pharaoh from the seat of consciousness, and replace Pharaoh with your God mind. Christ in your mind, then, is the process of integrating the opposites. The cross is a symbol of duality. That's the crucifixion. And the Christ in your mind is, don't forget, Jesus ascended the cross. So he went beyond duality. Now, Jesus obviously then died and left this realm. We have to do it while we're still here. And it symbolises the end of illusions.